Hi everyone, this is my extension project for exploring the servo this week. As you saw in the previous video, I was able to get the servo to rotate around 180 degrees, visiting various angles along the way. This particular extension, I'm going to set up a manual control for the servo. I'm going to use a knob, more specifically the potentiometer, to rotate the servo by turning this. Now, the setup on my board, which is a little hard to see because there's a lot of wires involved here, but here's kind of how things are put together. So I've got the servo wire, which is really consisting of 3 separate wires, is connected to some jumper wires here. The black and red jumper wires are connected to ground and the 5-volt power respectively, and they're connected via the breadboard here to 5 volts and ground on the board, and that's connected to the Arduino. And then the white wire here is sort of like the signal wire, and so that is connected via the breadboard to another white jumper wire that goes back to the Arduino to channel 9, and that is an output. And basically this servo operates on a form of pulse width modulation, in which the size of the pulse width, will actually translate to a position, a location in this 180 degree possible rotation for the servo. And so by sending different pulse widths, you can again affect where this is located. Now, I also have the potentiometer involved so that I can manually adjust the servo's position, and you'll see that I have sort of the traditional setup for the potentiometer that we've seen in prior weeks. I've got the potentiometer connected to ground and 5 volts on either end, and then this green jumper wire goes to the analog input on the Arduino. And in my program, I mapped the values 0 to 1023 that you usually get with the analog input from a potentiometer. I mapped that to a new set of values that correlates to essentially 0 to 180, right, the possible positions for the servo. So as a result, right now I have it set at 0, but if I turn the potentiometer, what's going to happen is that's going to change the position value in my program for the servo, and then the servo is going to receive basically some information and output from the Arduino to let it know to change its position. So if I turn the knob, you can see that the servo is changing accordingly because the position values in my sketch are changing, and it's receiving different values to change its position. And I can turn the knob faster, and it will respond pretty quickly to this adjustment. All right, so that is my first extension project for the servo.